Okay, number one.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good evening, residents. Is this working? Can you hear me back there?
Yeah, you gotta hold it right in your mouth.
Fellow candidates, this is an exceptional turnout and once again an indication of how important this by-election is to the people of North Cowichan. Thank you for the organizers for giving us this opportunity. My name is David Bellis and I have lived in the Valley for over 60 years, the last 25 in North Cowichan. My father joined the RCAF when World War II broke out, luckily survived the war, stayed in the military until his retirement in 1963, at which time he moved his growing family to Duncan. There were 9 of us. When he retired, he had actually been a teacher in Duncan before the war started, and he resumed that career when we came back here. I eventually became a teacher as well, after working many different blue-collar jobs along the way. Interestingly, the first 5 years of my career were spent just up the road here at the end of Severn Street at the old Chemainus Elementary School, which has since been torn down. I believe it's a skate park these days, but I remember those years very well, and Chemainus has a very special place in my heart for those first years. After teaching here for 5, I moved on to Duncan Elementary, Cowichan Junior High School, Francis Kelsey, and eventually I ended up at the Adult Learning Center in Duncan, where people were given a second chance to come back to school and graduate. Those were extremely rewarding and satisfying years for me. In my time there, over 600 people came back and got their adult graduate. So that's probably the part of my career I am most proud of, although I enjoyed all my 37 years. The oldest graduate from the center, I have to mention this, was 85 years old. And he was almost totally deaf, but it was on his bucket list, and he did it. It was amazing to see. During my time with SD 79, I spent hundreds of hours coaching every sport at every level, except hockey. I don't play hockey, but I spent 10 years on the board of Literacy Now Cowichan. 2 of those as vice chair. And, oh yes, Coldest Night of the Year. I was one of the original organizers of Coldest Night of the Year, the fundraiser for at-risk youth in Duncan. We just purchased a house in Duncan for those youth. Very proud of that. I'm running as an independent candidate, a centrist, middle of the road, if you will. I'm not affiliated with any political party or faction on council, and will not feel obligated or pressured to vote in a certain way. I will feel free to vote on the merits of the issue and the vision of what seems best for the citizens of North Cowichan. I have no campaign manager or fiscal agent, nor have I solicited any funds. You will not see any signage for me, or color brochures or newspaper ads, because the basis of my platform is really fiscal restraint. That I will bring to you if elected to council. And by the way, you will not find me on social media, which I suppose has its uses, but I'll be damned if I will support in any way Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg. I care deeply for this valley and have the time, energy, and commitment to work for its welfare, and I will speak for those of us who occupy a middle ground and wish to move the conversation forward responsibly, but with compassion for our most unfortunate. I ask that you put me to work for you. I am David Bellis, and I thank you for listening. Thank you.
I think you can get a big
Sorry about the timer, like I'm working until you.
So, okay, we can see it here.
Okay.
A little bit.
Somebody time, I think somebody was timing. Did you time that last one? How much
Yeah.
time did David get?
3.5.
3.5? Okay, you will get 3.5.
minutes.
There we go.
Well, there were some distractions.
All right, I'll try to mimic the distraction. Okay.
Hello, and thank you all for being here tonight and showing an interest in our community. My name is Becky Hogg. I was born and raised in the Cowichan Valley. My husband Mike and I raised our 3 sons here. And it was a choice to raise them here, and we are very proud to call North Cowichan home. I've been a North Cowichan business owner for 18 years. I've watched our safe sidewalks become frightening. I've watched retail outlets and private properties escalate. Our first responders overworked. I've seen commercial and residential taxes bloom. I question government spending and how it's allocated. I intend to address all of this if elected to council. When I began my career as a hairstylist, I had no idea it would lead me here today. In the hair business, you build relationships and learn a lot about people. They feel free to open up. They vent their likes, their dislikes, and their frustrations. The experience has given me everything I need to cultivate change. I am here to build relationships with you. There have been far too many incidents on our street and in our neighborhoods, and I want to bring forward a tactical bylaw safety plan and look at expanding hours of service. Our housing crisis is real. We have a state-of-the-art hospital being built here. Where will we house our medical staff we so desperately need? How will we attract them with no housing opportunity? We need to act quickly and efficiently and streamline the building permit process. Housing projects need less red tape and more speedy response. There is a way around this, as it happens in other communities. Our property taxes have risen again. Most households are feeling the strain. We need fiscal responsibility, and we need to create more revenue to offset these growing taxes. We must think outside the box and get creative. Our municipality owns a very unique 5,000 hectares of municipal forestry reserve. This needs to be looked at. We have lost close to $15 million in revenue since this working forest stopped in 2019. We need to explore these options immediately to bring our revenue back to our municipality and you, the taxpayers. As your elected member, I will work for you and ensure our community grows responsibly and sustainably. Thank you very much.
Joanna, before you start, just wait for the, you good to go, the timer's good to go. All right.
Good evening. Thank you for taking the time to participate in our democracy by being here tonight. Thank you to the Chemainus Residents Association for hosting this meeting, and to the Chemainus people on whose land we gratefully gather. My name is Joanna Lord, and I am thankful to be a settler on the unceded and traditional territories of the Cowichan and Coast Salish people. I grew up in Maple Bay. I raised my family there, and I still live there. I have deep roots in North Cowichan, and I cherish its cultural diversity, natural beauty, and extraordinary quality of life. I am running for council because we need strong and wise leadership to guide our future. I'm stepping up because I want to bring my background, skills, and experience to hit the road running to get to work for all of you. This is a short term until the next cycle of municipal elections, October 2026. There is little time to learn how local government works and how its jurisdiction fits in with senior levels of government, let alone build the necessary relationships in order to effectively advocate for all residents in North Cowichan. I have spent the last 20 years as an instructor at Cowichan campus of VIU, teaching in the adult upgrading program and student success advising. In my work, I advocated for students and helped connect them with community organizations and services to support them in their pathways. I admired their courage to step up, to continue their education, which changed not only their lives, but their families and communities. I know I made a difference because when I bump into students in town, like April, and she tells me every time I changed her life by helping her learn to read. Now, April did all the hard work, but I was there to support and guide and help build her confidence. My experience advocating for students was an excellent stepping stone to advocating for union members and fellow workers. When I first stepped up into the role of shop steward at my worksite in 2008. My journey in the BC General Employees Union has given me years of valuable leadership development and training and experience navigating and negotiating, providing the transferable skills that will serve me well in the role of counselor. Through my activism in the labor movement, I understand the importance and necessity of volunteerism, community service, and the strength of solidarity and the collective. I have experienced chairing meetings, putting forward motions, and using rules of order. I look forward to our time together tonight and hearing about the issues that are important to you. Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Raymon Farmere and I am glad to be here tonight. So for myself, in the past 2 years I have worked as a campus director for 2 years. I have 10 years of experience as a college instructor. I have worked as a network administrator and a computer technician, and I also worked at Vancouver Island University as well for 7 years. I was also part of the QP 1858 executive. I also held the role of a shop steward, and in my role as part of the executive at Vancouver Island University, I was responsible for voting on bylaws and helping pass motions as well, which is very similar to the role of a counselor. I have a Master's of Education, a Bachelor of Arts in English and Media Studies, an Associate's degree in Academic Arts and Social Sciences, a Diploma in Information Technology and Applied Systems, and a certificate in Information Technology and Applied Systems as well, all from Vancouver Island University. When I was in QP, I was responsible for voting on legislation and bringing motions before the executive. Currently, at this point in my life, I am doing some information technology and curriculum development work. I also have a business license for an online college that I'm working on getting going as well. I have lived in the Cowichan Valley Regional District for the last 7 months. Me and my wife, who has cancer, unfortunately, she got it 3 years ago, bought a house here with her mother's inheritance. I do a lot of business in town, and I have some friends who are in the area who are business owners as well. I want to help with the implementation of the official community plan and help increase communication between council, staff, and the community. And I look forward to coming up with more ideas to help with things like drug rehabilitation programs, because drug use is a big problem now in the community. Also, I want to look at different ways of helping lower greenhouse gas emissions, and I want to look at ways to also help bring more affordable housing options to North Cowichan, specifically also for the homeless people. One thing I like the idea of that they did well in Victoria was the Tin Town option, where they brought all these tin houses in, made out of storage containers, basically. And another thing they did well too is they bought old hotels and they used them for the homeless people as well and refurbished them. So it's good if we can look at reusing the buildings we have too. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you to the organizers for having us all here today, and thank you so much for coming and hearing what we have to say. I want to acknowledge that we are on the unceded territories of the Coast Salish people, where we are privileged to live, work, and play. My name is Johanne Kimmler, and I've had the privilege of calling the Cowichan Valley home for over 50 years. My husband and I raised our children here, and over the years I've developed a deep love and commitment to this community. For me, it's not just about the landscapes and beauty, although it is. It's about creating a place where everyone can thrive, regardless of their background or circumstances. I've had the opportunity to serve as a school trustee, a QP union executive, and currently as a community advocate in the role of the coordinator for the Cowichan Valley CAT team. These roles have given me a unique perspective on how local government works and how it can best serve the needs of residents. My years of experience have also taught me the importance of listening, understanding, and collaborating to find solutions that work for everyone. I'm always ready to jump in, roll up my sleeves, and get to work. I believe in practical approaches, and I believe in doing what's right, even when it's hard. Now, when it comes to what's the heart of my platform, I want to share with you 2 of the issues that I hear matter most. That said, there are many more, such as challenging infrastructure deficit that we just had reported to us, and of course, rising taxes. First, affordable housing. Everyone deserves a safe, stable place to call home. But right now, too many people in our community are struggling to find housing they can afford. And that's not just an inconvenience. It's a barrier to well-being, health, and success. Whether it's seniors, families, workers, or our most vulnerable residents, we need to provide housing a priority. My goal is to work with developers, nonprofits, and government partners to bring more affordable and supportive housing to North Cowichan. Second, public safety and addiction. We've all seen the social disorder in our neighborhoods, and it's clear that we need to address the root causes of homelessness and addiction. To do this, we need a balanced approach that includes enforcement, prevention, and support. We need to work closely with nonprofits, healthcare providers, and other community organizations to ensure that people have the resources and support they need to heal and build their lives. We also need to make sure our community is safe for everyone, and that means working together with bylaw and enforcement agencies to address the issues that lead to the crime and disorder. We can't just focus on the symptoms anymore. We need to tackle the causes with compassion and action. I look forward to answering your questions tonight. I'm a little bit nervous, and learning what is important to you. Your input is crucial as we work together to build a strong community. Let's continue this conversation and work towards a positive North Cowichan. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to ask my question while you guys get set up there so you can get ready to go there. Okay, my first question to you is, the municipality in North Cowichan, as you know, is comprised of a number of small and somewhat unique communities. In fact, we have trouble promoting the municipality in North Cowichan because nobody's quite sure where it is. What are the unique challenges that Chemainus faces that you would champion as a councillor? And I think you've got your numbers there, so I don't know if you just number 1. So what are the unique challenges that Chemainus faces that you would champion as a councillor?
Well, that is a good question. Having grown up in this valley when I was a teenager, going to high school here in Chemainus, the murals came about. And it was an amazing thing to watch Chemainus go from a complete ghost town to a thriving little community. And over the years, I've seen that it isn't as thriving as it was then. I think the unique challenges, one of them anyway for Chemainus, is that it's off the highway and people don't know what is so remarkable when they drive down 5 minutes down the road. Another challenge is that children seem to kind of get up and leave. I don't know what that's about or why they feel it's necessary, but we always kind of have. So I think that's a unique challenge, maintaining and keeping our kids right here in town and getting it alive again, and getting some more resources for children, and just more resources. But advertising, and get the community here. The theater's done a great job. We just need more like the theater.
Thank you for the question, Mark. Yes, I think certainly I would take on the challenges of advocating for more affordable housing in Chemainus, and also childcare. There is not enough childcare spaces. We know that in the neighborhood next door in Crofton, there is a childcare center that they're trying to get up and running. The municipality is still waiting for funding on that. I know that there are childcare spaces in Chemainus, but I know that there's not enough of them. And affordable housing for young families so that they can work closer to home, have childcare, and hopefully have a living wage job. So that's another thing that we need to, similar to what Johanne Kimmler said, in terms of marketing Chemainus, marketing the unique tourism aspects that it has, and tying it into the recreation and trails and hiking that we have, not only in Chemainus but close by as well. So those are the things that I would champion for in Chemainus.
Thanks for the question. One of the biggest things in Chemainus is more jobs, and to get more jobs, Chemainus needs more businesses. Chemainus is also a step off the ferry destination from Thetis and Palinelica Island. So when people come here, a lot of them shop at where the old 49th parallel was, which is now a small grocery store in that main downtown area. So if we could get a few more businesses in there, and also look at what the scope of an in-home business is in the area too, and maybe adjust the scope a little bit in Chemainus to allow for more in-home businesses, because at the same time there isn't a lot of room for more retail businesses per se. So if we could adjust the scope of what an in-home business is in the area, I think that would make a difference, and then we could get more businesses going in there and create more jobs there. But the other thing too, the murals are a big thing in Chemainus. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to work with the Chemainus Residents Association to see what we can do to raise money to get the murals going again, and to see where we could put more murals into the community as well. So Chemainus is a very special area, and it's got a lot of tourism in it. The theater is amazing. Thank you.
I'm going to base this on a personal experience. So we spent a weekend in Sydney, and Sydney has a lot of things to offer. They had electric bikes that ride around the town. They had events going on. They had Sydney days. They had the streets shut down, and a bunch of people came there. And I think with the beautiful landscape you have here, the beaches, the trails, walkable city for anybody, town. You could have bike riding. You could maybe work with a cycling place where people could jump on bikes and ride around, check out stores, and bring people into the community. I think that would be events, planning events throughout the year, and even through the colder times, bringing people here, the theater, but maybe working with the theater to bring something else, free theater, and get more people to come down here and see it. Because once you see it, you're going to come back. It's just getting people here for the first time.
As I said, I taught for the first 5 years here in Chemainus, 1978 to 1983. The mill had shut down. It was huge. It was the second biggest mill in the world when it was closed. I think there was probably 700-800 people employed at that time. It was a very depressed, sad town, and it has pulled itself up by its bootstraps to what it is today. I think your biggest challenge, and I hope you know how lucky you are to live here, I think your biggest challenge is to retain the character that is Chemainus. I love my part-time job coming to Chemainus and Ladysmith because it's like stepping back in time. It is what Duncan used to be 20 years ago, but is no longer. You are very fortunate. not to have a safe injection site here. And I'm not saying that's a good or a bad thing, but it will change the character of your town overnight. And not in a good way. So I think that is your biggest challenge, to retain the charm. I've looked at your local area plan, and that is definitely in your plan, to retain that character in the housing, in the foliage that's planted, in flowers, believe it or not, but a plan to maintain the character of what Chemainus actually is. It's a very, very special place, and if you live here, you're very fortunate. I love to visit here. Thank you.
Hey, Gavin.
So you have 1 minute.
Yeah.
Oh, and two Jeremy to go now.
So I have two questions, and one was if it meant having to raise,
use the mic, please.
if it meant having to raise North Cowichan property taxes to buy electric garbage trucks, would you still insist on buying electric garbage trucks? And my second question is, for all these new homes that hopefully we're going to build, would you support or stand in the way of natural gas?
You get one?
Well, yeah, we're not gonna, technically I wouldn't have allowed two, but good on you, Kathy, it was generous. So
I'll get
you
better.
should have had your numbers out there, you ready to go?
We get new numbers?
What's that new
We
number?
get new numbers, or am I always going to be?
Oh, no, Bernie, we're gonna do another, yeah, we should randomize it. Actually, while Bernie's getting them randomized there, maybe we'll draw another, Kathy, you want to go on and get another ticket?
Sorry, could you repeat the first part of the question?
So the first part of the question was, if it meant raising property taxes in North Cowichan, would you insist on buying expensive electric garbage trucks?
No.
Or would you be fiscally responsible?
Okay, so we're just gonna go with that question, that's the question, we're not gonna go to two, okay?
I am not in favor of seeing any further raise in property taxes.
Bravo!
An interesting sideline to that question. I have a brother who lives in California, I think Orange County. The state of California, some years ago, through the initiative of a private citizen, somehow got a bill passed in the state legislature. So this is for 35, 40 million people. That property taxes could not be raised more than, I think it was 2.5%. And that's a law. It's not allowed, period. Something to consider. What was the second part?
No, we'll just go with second, we're just gonna go with one
We're just
question.
gonna go with-
Yeah, we don't have enough time.
Number two.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. As far as raising property taxes for electric garbage trucks, no, I wouldn't want to raise property taxes for that. But what I would do is I'd reach out to the province and try and get a grant from the province to bring in electric garbage trucks that way, because we don't want to put any more pressure on the community where we don't have to. And that, I believe that it's more of a provincial thing, and that's where that kind of money should be coming from. At the same time, for natural gas, I would like to look at other forms of power other than natural gas. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. So, will I raise taxes to buy electric garbage trucks? No. I would, though, think that the being of an electric garbage truck would probably not require raising taxes. There's grants, we have our climate action fund, we would have other ways to get those trucks, and they would save money in the long run. But no, I would not raise taxes just to do that.
No, I would not agree to that at all.
So it's my understanding that North Cowichan decided to automate its waste and organic system based on a survey of residents in which over 2,000 residents responded to that, agreeing that they wanted to have waste collection done. So it is also my understanding that along with 4 new trucks that have been ordered, including one electric one, that has been helped pay for with a provincial grant. So I am in support of electrified waste organics pickup. It is also important for worker safety because it mitigates repetitive muscle injuries for workers. Thank you.
We made it all the way through. Kathy, yeah.
All right, the next lucky winner, number 4008. All right. One question. Okay, thanks very much. Thanks to all of you for stepping up. I've done this job a number of years ago, and it isn't easy. I really admire you. And my question is, some candidates are suggesting that increased residential development will reduce municipal taxes. Do you agree? And if so, why? And if you don't agree, why not?
I'm guessing you might have to repeat the question. Everybody, I know we were randomizing up here, so. Great.
Did everybody
Everybody
get
good
the
with the
question?
question? I'm
I think it bears repeating.
Yeah, I think it.
There's repeating. Okay, just repeat. Some candidates suggest increased residential development will reduce municipal taxes. Do you agree? And if so, why? And if you don't agree, why not?
I do agree to that, because when you spread the tax base over multiple places, it brings down the tax burden on other people. It also, we do have an infrastructure problem, I understand that, but right now, we do have 4,200 places that are already about to go through, and we need to work on the infrastructure. But for, if it's anything in life, when you spread the, well, or if you're in a bus, and you're with 20 people, and the bus is $400, you put more people on that, it's going to break down that price. So it just, by having more people there in homes, spreading it out, it is going to make it go down.
Thank you for the question. Yes, I do think that more residences would create less taxes for the very same reasons that Hogg was saying, that if we have more people covering the costs of all the infrastructure and our garbage collection and all the things we spend money on, which is very many things, that the cost will go down. I do also know that we have an infrastructure problem, so I think some more density housing does provide a good tax base. Industry provides a good tax base as well.
I'm going to disagree with that statement for these reasons. The investigation that I did into the tax base and how it was apportioned between residential, heavy industry, light industry, commercial, et cetera, et cetera. On the municipal server, I could only go back to 2009. At that time, residential, the percentage of residential taxes made up 48%. Heavy and light industry, 42%. Any idea what it is today? Residential is 68% of the tax base. Heavy and light industry, 18. So it's a great theory, but it's not working.
question. So it's not really an either or. Growth of industry along planned areas and following the official community plan, I think is what we need. We need more industry into North Cowichan in order to bring in more money for the tax base. And also, sprawl increases the cost of infrastructure. So we have to plan carefully and grow carefully and ensure that we have the infrastructure. And again, the other piece is figuring out ways, and the Economic Development Committee, I believe, is working on this, and to find ways to attract more industry into the region.
Thank you for the question. So, yeah, it can make taxes go down, but it depends how it's managed too in some ways. And what I mean by that is, for example, where we're looking at apartments and stuff like that in the OCP, if we're bringing in apartments, a good idea would be to put businesses on the lower floors of apartments, small businesses like convenience stores, pharmacies, and maybe clinics as well, the basic things that we need. And then what that will do is that will put these things right in the area within a very close walking distance for people. That's also going to help our carbon footprint at the same time. But it's going to bring more businesses, and it's also going to create more jobs, which is going to bring more money into the community as well, because then people aren't going to be going everywhere else when they can go into the business that's just below their apartment building, buy the basic groceries they need for dinner, and go upstairs and cook it rather than go somewhere else for it, basically. Thank you.
Great. Kathy, why don't we do two? Let's do two, get one teed up.
Okay. Okay. Next number is 4033, and then 4004. So, does
Do we
anybody?
have a winner? You win?
Right into the
Thanks, Kathy. Can you hear me? Yeah, thank you. This is a question, I'm Peter Rusland, I live in North Cowichan, in the Duncan area. This is a question for all the candidates, and thanks for being here tonight. The question is, yes or no, do you support limits to growth in North Cowichan until we are able to find out ways to cover the $359 million that CAO Sway, I think that's the figure that was in the paper, for upgrading and maintaining our current infrastructure. So we need to do that before we can grow, regardless of how many 4,200 units are on the books. So do you support limits to growth until we can figure out how to pay for the infrastructure and to get more money into the pot? Will you demand through the Economic Development Committee results based at the end of the year? How many businesses that the EDC has brought here to help add more tax money in the pot?
Time's up,
Thank
sir.
you. Limits to growth.
And, sorry.
No, okay, sorry.
Could 4004 let me know where you are, and I'll come over there for the next question. Sorry.
So I do support growth, but I also understand what we're into. And I know that there is plans in place. We are a growing community. There's more people coming, and we need to look at this in a serious way. I understand that we have infrastructure, but if you do it smartly and you use developers and you go to the province, we could do it in a sustainable way.
Thank you for the question.
Yes, I do support growth. We have 4,200 units that we can sustain at the moment. I don't support any more development applications past that until we have a plan and a way to do our infrastructure. I don't know because I'm not a planner, but I think that I would love to know from our planners, can that infrastructure be done an area at a time in preparation that we can add places of growth as we go and get that handled? Because it'll take a while to raise provincially, federally, and in all other ways, that kind of money. So yes, the growth that we have already approved, I think is necessary. We need housing, we need places for people to be.
Sorry, Mark, it's limits to growth, not growth, but limits to it, because we have the infrastructure problems.
Okay.
Thank you for the question. Yes, I support limiting growth. This is included in the official community plan, which describes a long-term vision for the municipality and includes a wide range of policies to thoughtfully manage future growth and development, not just for years, but for generations. The OCP, so if we follow the OCP, then we will have carefully managed and thoughtful and smart growth, and it will limit unsightly and costly sprawl. We don't want to be another Langford in North Cowichan, so I strongly believe that we do need to limit growth and we do need to follow the official community plan. Thank you.
Oh, I'm fine. Thanks for the question. Yeah, so I support limiting growth because, as they said, we can only support 4,000 development applications right now, but we have 10,000 development applications from developers sitting on the table right now who are wanting to develop in the area, but the infrastructure doesn't support it, unfortunately. So, two things. I would want to look at putting growth in place where growth is needed at first, only on an as-needed basis and an immediate basis. Anything else would be in the future. We also should look at communicating with the province to get money to help with our existing infrastructure as well, and see what we can do with that. And because if we can get that fixed sooner and find the money for it somewhere, then that's gonna help us be able to support more growth as time goes by.
It's a difficult question, very difficult question. I agree with Joanna and others that the official community plan needs to be followed as closely as possible until there are extraordinary circumstances that might change it. And it does outline growth very, very clearly. It's funny you asked the question because I asked the question of myself the other day. What is actually the vision of North Cowichan for when is enough enough? We have a lot of people moving to the valley. And you sell a house in the Lower Mainland for $3 million and come to North Cowichan, you're going to do okay, you know? And we have a lot of those folks coming. They're not young families coming to work. Yes, they're coming here and they're going to pay their taxes and shop here and everything, but we're not attracting working families, if you want to put it that way. There's a lot of people coming in from Alberta, again, with lots of money to spend, but when are we going to have a vision that says, okay, this is our population cap? Is that a reasonable thing to ask for 5, 10, or 15 years down the road? What is going to be our capacity when we say, you know, we need to stop. I don't know how you stop people moving in, but, and maybe that sounds a little draconian, but we have to look at what we can support and what we can do, and working families coming here. Thank you.
So, hello, can you hear me? Okay. So I did a quick research on the candidates here, and specifically, this question is for Joanne. And I see from what I found out that since you've had some past behaviours and affiliations, that you are quite heavily, and dare I say unapologetically, involved with radical leftist ideologies. You appear to have quite a history of being an NDP power broker, having been involved in the campaigns on NDP at the far left, like dear Alistair McGregor, Mayor of Douglas, and Tobrowski. Sorry? Oh, okay. Given, I would like to just point out that she pointed out that anyone who doesn't agree with her viewpoints is alt-right and labelled conspiracy theorists.
Question.
The question is, if elected, can we,
Sorry, you hit the minute mark. Have you got like 5 seconds to ask
okay,
a question?
the question is, if you're elected, can we expect to see you voting in council in a manner more aligned with your Marxist ideologies and
The next question, please. I'm not going to...
No, attacking and aligning yourself with the people in this room.
Thank you.
The people of this area, rather than Marxist ideologies.
Yeah, we can draw another.
It was too long. Okay, for number 4022. 4022.
Right here.
Thank you very much. My name is Jamie Stephen. I'm also a 30-year resident of Chemainus. I'm concerned about two things related to my burgeoning property taxes. The first thing is my perception of bloating bureaucracy in North Cowichan. The second thing is my apprehension that the Crofton Mill in the very near future may go down. If it does go down, the industrial tax base is going to be lost. My taxes this year are over $8,000. Very, very soon, that's going to be threatening my ability to stay where I live. What would North Cowichan do to try and hold the line on residential tax properties, or, surprisingly, decrease them? Thank you very much.
Thank you for the question. It is a huge problem. According to prognostications, it would seem that 8% is going to be what we're looking at for the foreseeable future, just to maintain infrastructure. So it's not sustainable. As I said at the last meeting, if you have a $3,000 property tax in 5 years at 8%, it will balloon to 4,400, almost 50% in 5 years. I don't know about you, but my income is not increasing at that rate. I can't afford it either. We need to look at creative solutions for reducing taxes. I would advocate that out here, within this room, there are probably some creative solutions that haven't even been thought of. This is the power of the people. You've got 7 people on council. We've got maybe 70, 80, 100 people here tonight. And I'll bet if we had a brainstorming session right now, we could come up with 25 pretty good ideas and then prioritize them to maybe the best 5. The power is out there with you folks. I would advocate a town hall to look at creative solutions. We need to increase the industrial tax base. There's no doubt about it. And I said at the last meeting, if we look to the south, Malahat Nations, they just put up a film studio and a light industry electric battery plant. How did they get those contracts? Why can't North Cowichan get contracts like that? We need to look at creative solutions and network with other municipalities to see what they're doing for creative solutions for revenue streams. Then we can start to bring things down. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. So yeah, the first thing we need to do is we need to look at what can we replace it with. And we want to start thinking about that now before this happens, basically. And a good way to do that is to start a study of what we can replace the mill with before the mill does go down, basically. What is our target audience? That's the first thing we have to look at as a community. Once we know what our target audience is, then we got to look at what is the biggest need that we have, and what do we have that no one else has at the same time. That's where this study would start, basically. Then from that, as council, what we should do, if elected, this is what I would do. I would put a motion before council to create a survey, basically, of all the different ideas we put together of what our target audience may be, and then we can hear from the community through the survey what the biggest thing is that we could do to create something to replace the mill, whether it's tourism, whether it's some resource that we have that other communities don't have. So we really need to do a deep investigation of this, and once we know what this is, and by starting now, we'll be able to figure out what that is before this happens, basically, before the paper mill does shut down.
So there's quite a few different things you can do. What I see we lack here is tourism. We're not bringing anyone into our community. We don't have places to stay. We have a high school that is going to be sold off. What could that land be used for? My vision is a convention center and a hotel. Right across the street, you have a pool, you have gymnastics, you have an arena. My kids played sports. My youngest son danced. There's always something going on in this town. I have looked and looked for videos on YouTube for tourism for our community, and there's not a whole lot out there. We have world-renowned mountain biking on Mount Raymon, on Mount Zugela. We need to put together a really good plan to get this community boosting, including Chemainus. Hire somebody to put together this incredible video. These videos go viral by just some person that's gone on a trip. Vancouver Island is known because of people taking these videos. We're not using our natural resources to show what we have. That is one way we can do it. Light industry, municipal forest reserve. There's a lot out there we could do to make the taxes go down.
Thank you for the question. And yes, property taxes are high, and particularly high this year, although historically North Cowichan has maintained a fairly middle-of-the-road percentage in terms of property taxes. As I answered in an earlier question, we need to attract more industry to the area to bring in more tax revenue. On the point of Crofton Mill, we have to absolutely do everything that we can as a municipality to maintain that operation can keep going so that local workers can maintain their good union jobs there. And I know that that recently the mayor and other councillors have met with senior management at the mill and have been advocating up to the province, to the Minister of Forests and the Minister of Economic Development in order to show support for the mill, and that we really need to keep it running so that those workers spend their paychecks in our small businesses and in our local communities, and that helps with the economy all around. And on another point in taxes, this year they were a little bit higher also due to the downloading of other costs from provincial and federal governments, like the 911 dispatch cost that was downloaded. There was also some costs downloaded for libraries and some other services. So we need to keep advocating to those senior levels of government to stop the downloading, and also keep looking for grants and other forms of funding to help with the costs that we have in the municipality. Thank you.
Well, for the first time, I think going to last is actually not a very good thing at all. It's just going to sound like a copy. There are only so many answers. So to start with industry, of course. When I was racking my brain about how we could do this, I thought, we could maybe even have an industry fair. Just think outside the box. Get industry here, get industry looking around. We have lots of industrial sites that have room for growth. So how do we get the industry here to see it? And should we offer incentives to move here? Those are things that I would have to talk to the planners and people in the know, but they're ideas that I thought would be very interesting. The mill, Crofton Mill, is a way bigger problem than we think when we think about it. Again, we need all those union jobs. We need the mill to be operational. And if the mill was to go down, we have a way bigger problem because they do a lot for our water system in Crofton. So I believe they manage a lot of the water system in Crofton. Then there's lots of small ideas. And a small idea can't be discounted because lots of small ideas get into big ideas and get into bigger money. So ideas such as outdoor recreational rentals, get our beaches more booming. With a co-management style, we could maybe have kayak rentals at our beaches for the summers and create income for a small business and income for our taxes. Really work on our ecotourism and our cultural experience. We have a lot to offer. We need to get videos out and look into our tourism. By using revenue sharing models with the municipality partners, with businesses that receives a portion of the profit. And if we were really keen, we could even just take that profit, I think it's a accounting nightmare, but put that whole profit into a tax savings thing that goes directly onto getting your percentage of taxes down. But there's a lot that can be looked at when we think outside the box and really think creatively. And I think there's room for that here in North Cowichan.
Great, thanks. Yeah, we'll do another one. Yeah.
Okay. I need someone to pick a number. Oh, you're
Number 417.
I would like to ask a question, number 417. Here you go. Speak right into the mic.
This afternoon, my wife and I were driving through Cowichan Valley, and it was sad to see there was several groups of homeless people. It was really sad, and our heart was out to them. Perhaps this question is more addressed to candidate Hogg, who's got a small business, I understand, in the valley. I'd like to hear comments from small businesses, what kind of an impact there is from the homelessness. And I also noticed there was 3 buildings that obviously been burnt. I know there's been a 3rd one that's been burnt and reconstructed. We seem to have a real problem there, and I wonder exactly what the impact is for business in the valley, and what we can do to ameliorate the problem.
I'm just going to ask, we agreed ahead of time, any questions any one of the candidates can answer, so we could perhaps, not all the candidates are small business people, but you can broaden it to the impact of homelessness and solutions, space. So, whoever's first.
Thank you for the question. I have a small part-time job in Duncan, and I literally brush shoulders with these folks every single time I go to my job. It's huge, it's complex, there's no easy answer to it, but for me, there is no answer, period, until there is secure housing for these folks. The crime, the public drug use, just the feeling of unease and not being safe in your own town is not going to change until we have secure shelter for people. Solutions to mental health and drug addiction are not going to be solved on the streets. So for me, housing is absolutely the first step. And then we can provide supports. And, you know, if you want a pipe dream, you know, one of the floors of the old hospital a year from now with therapists, with nurses, with psychiatrists, with every support you can think of. Yeah, it's a dream, it's a vision, but it would be a long way to a solution. Right now, we have empty buildings in Duncan, like the one near Home Hardware. What was it called? McFrugal's Outlet Center's been sitting vacant for probably a couple of years now. It could be a temporary, but secure shelter that is 24 hours, not kick them out at 7 o'clock in the morning. A society is judged by how it treats its most unfortunate. And how will we be judged by future generations? Thank you.
That is such a complex challenge and no quick fixes. It's affecting communities all across the province. Homelessness and the opioid crisis. In 2023, our Cowichan Valley point-in-time count, where we go out on one day and try to count those who are unhoused, identified 223 individuals experiencing homelessness. Those of us who are participating in the count think it's much, much more. That is a 58% increase from the 129 individuals counted in 2020. So in island health, in 2024, 450 people died of toxic drug deaths. The unhoused and drug issues in North Cowichan are so complex. The only way we begin to tackle them is to house people. People need to be housed to get better. When COVID struck, the province said, hey, you guys, you got to house those people because they're going to spread COVID all over the place. And we did. Every single person who wanted to be housed was. And it wasn't that big of a deal. There were small little pop-up villages, a lot like the village on Trump Road now, that housed all the people with support. It was amazing. It worked really well. And then the funding stopped. COVID was no longer an issue. Funding got pulled and all the little houses got sold or given away. So if you want to take some time, the members of the Cowichan Coalition have created a plan called a Vision for Wellness, a 3-phase comprehensive plan, and it requires collaboration across our whole valley, Duncan, CBRB, et cetera, et cetera. Their plan is on the internet if you want to look it up, or on my website if you want to click through to it. It's a 10-year plan, and if implemented, there would be homes for seniors, homeless people, sick people, well people. It's an amazing plan. Thank you.
Yes, it is a very complex issue, and I have empathy for small business, residents, community members, and the homeless folks who are suffering under so many difficult conditions. I would say as a municipality, we're limited in how far we can do things, but some things that we could do, we could look at the old hospital, which I understand there is a petition with several thousand names on it already, and a public consultation to come to turn that into a treatment center so that folks can overcome their addictions. We can advocate for provincial funding to build more supportive housing like the village on Trunk Road in Duncan. We can advocate for a program called Car 60, which is matches up an RCMP with a psychiatric nurse and checks on street folks and connects them with mental health supports. On Saturday mornings, I have been going to needle/clean pickup outside of Experience Cycling in Duncan, and Ken Baird, the RCMP staff sergeant, is often there on Saturday mornings as well. And so I had a really good conversation with him recently around how we tackle these issues with empathy, but also from a public safety perspective. Bylaw enforcement is another way that we can address it. Bringing back auxiliary police so that there's more eyes on the street as well. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. So what can we do in the here and now? One thing that we could do right off the bat is we could start a nonprofit organization and get volunteers to work as mobile outreach workers, basically, who go out in the community and reach out to people and see what they can do to help them, and also carry Noxaline kits with them too, so that they can help prevent overdoses by handing out the Noxaline kits to the homeless people as well at the same time. Another thing that we can do in the here and now, I've seen them do it in Victoria, is they handed out tents on a regular basis to the homeless people to provide them with immediate housing, so they're not sleeping outside in the parks and in front of shops, but they can sleep in the woods where the trails are, and through the use of a tent be somewhat housed in the here and now. Another thing that I saw in Victoria too, as I was talking about, was the 10-pound big steel box housing. That is a really good immediate form of housing. And as everyone else has said too, what buildings are available? There's lots of buildings available here that we could be using, and also the old hospital is a great idea as well. So there's a lot that can be done, but there's more that can be done here and now, and that here and now is just getting people in the community involved in going out there and talking to the people, seeing what they need, and hearing their stories, and why, and we've learned from them why their addiction is the way it is, and then that will help us be able to help them moving forward and give them the tools to be able to help themselves. Thank you.
My hair salon's on Garden Street, right beside the food bank. We went there in 2014. It wasn't a big deal. 2015 started to change. 2016 really went downhill. On a daily basis, I'm removing people out from my shop. I have people out back in the alley. My staff can't take out their garbage. It is dangerous. We had somebody in our back alley that was abducted not abducted, but they had taken him and beaten him in our back alley. And I just missed it by 10 minutes by taking out the garbage, but we saw the video footage. It's hard every single day. I'm sorry to get emotional, but it's hard. Very hard to be a business owner. And I am very passionate about this. I care. I go out every day and see what they need. And I want to find a solution. And I will do everything. And even if I don't get on council, I will not give up on this work. It needs to happen. We need to set more bylaws. I've gone up and down our bylaws in North Cowichan. Not one thing states in there. Lawyering, soliciting, open drug use. Why are we having open drug use on the streets when we have safe injection sites? It shouldn't be allowed. They need to go, and I understand it's a sickness, it's an illness, but the thing is, it is so hard, so hard. And I'm not going to give up. I won't. And I promise you, if I don't get on, I will still fight for every one of you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody. I want to thank all of my nominators who made it possible for me to be here tonight. And I want to thank all of you for having me. And if elected, I will do everything in my ability to help make the community a better, more safer place. I'll also pledge to help with the development of the community, to do everything I can to bring more businesses to the community too, and more jobs at the same time, because we need more jobs and more money in order to be able to further develop the community. I promise to look to the provincial government to get funding where needed in areas such as infrastructure, because the sooner we get our infrastructure more developed, then we'll be able to get more housing in the community at the same time, and we'll be able to support the housing need and the development applications that are coming forward. If elected, I also pledge to help protect our forests and all of our environment. If elected, I also would like to lobby to put solar power into as many of our municipal buildings as possible, because that will also help with the burning of less greenhouse gases. So if we can start moving towards a power model where we're burning less greenhouse gases, that's going to help lower our carbon emissions, and it's going to help make a safer, better, and cleaner North Cowichan. And so all of these things I'd like to do, and I hope that I get to serve the community here in North Cowichan and help make it a better place. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time and being here listening to us. I'm ready to jump in to the tasks at hand because I have experience in political tabling and I have insight on to handle political tables. I understand the rules that govern them. It's not an easy job the first few times you get to sit at a table. There's a lot of nuances, but I'm ready to go for it. I have no political affiliation or connections with existing councillors, which independence allows me to develop my own perspective and vote based on my personal convictions, always with the community's best interest in mind. This freedom gives me the opportunity to represent the diverse voices in our community without any external influences, ensuring that every decision I make would be rooted in what's best for North Cowichan. A lot of the questions tonight were very thought-provoking. I thank you for them. I was unprepared for a few of them. I must say I was expecting other ones, which I'm prepared for. Just one more remark that, yes, it's very disturbing on the homeless front and the opioid front. If the unhoused had somewhere to be and they weren't kicked out at 7 a.m. in the morning and could be in a shelter all day, we wouldn't be necessarily seeing the problem. We would still have a problem, but we wouldn't be seeing it like we are. I am here to listen and learn and work alongside all of you to create a community where we thrive. Your voice matters. I want to hear from you. If elected, I would be happy to together build a future we can be proud of. I am committed to using my experience and political savvy to navigate the challenges we face, always with the goal of creating meaningful, lasting change for our community. In everything I do, I will prioritize collaboration, respect, and compassion. I'm not here just to speak for you. I'm here to listen to you. Thank you for your time and trust. Please check out my website and vote for me, Johanne Kimmler. Thank you.
Okay, I'm settled down a little bit now. Sorry about that. I've listened and I've heard your concerns. And the number one concern I've heard from many of our residents I've spoken to is property taxes. And I couldn't agree more. We need to focus spending on essential services and non-essential service spending. We need to be creative and attract businesses and boost tourism to offset the tax burden. Exploring revenue from our municipal forestry reserve. We all deserve to live in a community that is safe and thriving and one we can all afford to enjoy. Growth can be scary. I understand that. But it's not the question of if we grow, it's how we grow. And it's here now. With proper planning and foresight, we can all move forward together, embracing this beautiful place we call home. North Cowichan. Thank you all so much for coming here and for your support, and I hope to be working for you one day.
Thank you for your thoughtful questions and participation tonight. My name is Joanna Lord. The first rule of governance is to make our quality of life better, not worse. The work I've done throughout my career, combined with the volunteer boards I've sat on, including Literacy Now Cowichan, the Columbia Institute, Parkside Society, and North Cowichan Sports Wall of Fame Committee, shows my commitment to giving back, being involved in community, and advocating for the betterment of all. I am committed to ensuring North Cowichan stays a vibrant and inclusive community, as outlined in the official community plans. I believe councillors need to be very accessible to the residents and businesses of North Cowichan. I have been knocking on doors, meeting with, and calling residents all over North Cowichan. I have been attending council meetings and paying attention to politics at all levels. I've been doing my homework to hit the road running, to work for all of you. If elected, I promise to undertake a series of listening tours and coffee meet and greets so that I can hear directly from you, your needs, your concerns, and your feedback, so I can do my absolute best to represent you and figure out the best way forward. As your councillor, I will represent you with commitment, integrity, responsibility, and heart. For more info, please check out my website. And if you think of any follow-up questions for me on topics covered tonight or other topics, please reach out. And on April 12th, vote for me, Joanna Lord. Thank you.
Thank you for your thought-provoking and heart-wrenching questions. It's been an interesting evening. I do not pretend to have easy solutions to all the issues. And if elected, I'm sure that there will be issues I haven't even thought of. It would not be a learning curve, it would be a cliff to be scaled, I'm sure. But I am fortunate to be in good health. I have the time, energy, and commitment to do the job. I mentioned earlier that I have a part-time job. 2 days a week I deliver groceries for Save On Foods, so I get to come to Chemainus and Lewiston quite a bit. It's always a big part of my day, but it has given me a different perspective on what is going on in the valley. I load up my van, and as I said, I'm often brushing shoulders with the folks who, for some reason, favor the Save On parking lot. Sometimes I buy them coffee, but on my route, I see many seniors. I see people in wheelchairs, walkers, people living in basement suites. I see people barely hanging on. And there are a lot. Some of them are just a paycheck away from being part of the homeless population. I see many of our roads being neglected as well. So, in no small way, this part-time job has motivated me to get involved at a level where decisions made will affect you, the citizens. I would like to be part of the dialogue around issues such as the homeless, rising taxes, truly affordable housing for low to middle income earners, and our aging infrastructure. Time is just about up. If you feel that you could vote for middle of the road, that would be me.
Well, thank you very much, Chemainus. I'm going to let you, one of our candidates, could stand up, and if you could give them a big round of applause.